What is up, YouTube? It is Coach Kolton here to bring you physique development tools, skills, and opinions that hopefully you can use for yourself. Today, I am once again surfing Reddit and I found another post kind of asking for some first cycle critiques. And I wanted to cover it with you guys because there's just one big red flag that immediately sticks out to me, as it has for years and years and years now, and I still can't comprehend why people react this way. So I wanted to touch on this topic with you. So I'll read the post as always, and then we'll kind of go into my opinions on it. So post reads, "Hello guys, I'm 24 years old. I've been lifting for about 6 years, dieting for about a year. Red flag number one, been consuming bodybuilding content since its beginning, basically. So I want to do the following protocol: 100 milligrams of test prop every other day, so roughly 300 to 400 milligrams a week, averaging out at about 350 milligrams weekly over the long term. 200 milligrams of Primo twice weekly, so that would equal 400 milligrams of Primo twice weekly. So already you're at close to 800-ish milligrams weekly. This will be for the first 8 weeks. After this, I will also add 10 milligrams of D-ball every day. I plan on using this cycle for 16 weeks and then coming off, bridging with HCG, and then starting a PCT if the sides are manageable. I plan to up the dose a bit towards the end. By the way, my body fat is not really that high. I'd say 12 to 13%. Right now I have visible abs, and I plan to drop it a little lower since I'll be in a deficit until starting the cycle. Looking forward to your opinion." So first things first with this, the red flag that I got immediately when I was reading this is 24 years old and he's using 800 milligrams for his first cycle. Okay, that's like, what are you even doing? You could start significantly lower, 300 milligrams of testosterone only, save a ton of money, and get way more for what you're doing. You could run 300 milligrams for a year and really have no detrimental side effects to what you're doing. And this is senseless because this is going to limit your progress to 16 weeks. I mean, why even do this? You just start lower. Longer and lower is going to be the key for you. You're only 24. You've never done a cycle before. Leverage a low amount of gear so that when you escalate dose, it really still isn't that much of a harmful dosage. Of course, it's still going to be harmful in some contexts, but it's not going to be as harmful as 800 milligrams. I don't care if it's Primo or testosterone, it's still going to be harmful in some capacity. So start at 300 milligrams, titrate up over the span of a year. You don't have to come off. You can endlessly progress and make those leaps and bounds forward versus condensing all of your progress into 16 weeks, crashing your testosterone levels, trying to restart yourself with an HCG protocol and maybe get that back. Ultimately, I think that's a terrible idea at your age. I would rather you just start at 300 milligrams of testosterone, take it low and slow, enjoy yourself, have fun. The other red flag, you're dieting for about a year, okay? About a year, are you kidding me? You need to be dieting for at least 6 to 7 years before you truly get on cycle. You need to truly take this as serious as possible. Are you eating 6, 7, 8, 9 ounces of meat 6 to 7 times a day? If not, you're in the fucking red, buddy. You're not going to be using this cycle to its max capacity. Stop what you're doing, get your diet in place, then progress into years of that, gain 10 to 20 more pounds as you probably could naturally, and then you'll be better off once you start the cycle. Now, I'm not one to be the gated person to say, oh, you can't hop on cycle until you're X amount of age. Honestly, if I could have started even earlier than I did after I won my natural pro card, I probably would have. But it's still something that I think you have, if you've only been dieting for a year, you have a lot to leverage still. And this is just too much of an infantile attempt at trying to get a quick fix in my mind. Then he says he's been consuming bodybuilding content since the beginning, basically. Okay, if you've been lifting for 6 years, and let's say you've been consuming bodybuilding content since you started lifting 6 years, you should probably know by now that starting with 800 milligrams of gear in total with a D-ball included in there is senseless and probably not going to afford you many gains compared to something of a lower and less invasive dosage protocol. So that's another red flag right away. And then lastly, he says he's going to use 10 milligrams of D-ball every day towards the latter end of the cycle, the latter half, 8 weeks. I just think that's a complete useless compound, especially useless in the context of you're just going to be jeopardizing your liver even more than you necessarily need to. You're just embracing hepatic steatosis. You're just embracing non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. You're just embracing a plethora of other endocrine issues as you progressively damage your liver. And yes, the liver is a resilient organ, but it's still finite. You still have a finite capacity in which you can damage that organ until something bad happens, like liver cancer, like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or liver steatosis. So try and stay away from D-bol. It's a prehistoric steroid. It is so much less effective than anything else you could potentially be using. To include, if you're going to add 10 milligrams of D-bol each day, why not just throw in another 15 milligrams of Primo a week at that rate? Like, it's so senseless to me. You're going to be causing more organ taxation than you necessarily need to. It's just not worth it, right? You're spending more money than you necessarily need to, and you're limiting your time of exposure, again, limiting the amount of progress you can make for your first cycle. So all in all, I think this is a terrible idea. I would start with testosterone that is probably going to be a longer ester, such as an enanthate. I would do about 250 to 300 milligrams, roughly, depending on your current weight, a week for, I would say, close to a year. Progress as much as you can. As soon as you've noticed the progress stopping for a month or 2 months and you feel that the gains have been cultivated enough and it's done for, increase the dose to 400 milligrams and escalate 100 milligrams each escalation. But that certainly doesn't need to be every week, and it certainly doesn't need to be every month or even every 2 to 3 months. You take your time, be patient. Okay, this just to me looks like a quick fix. Like, hey, I want to get big and I'm frustrated that I haven't made the results I need to, so I need to immediately take 800 milligrams of gear and shoot my progress through the roof. But ultimately, you're going to be let down when you come off of everything. Leverage HCG. You'll find that that muscle is only 16 weeks old and will deteriorate rapidly unless you're able to sustain that muscle for, 6, 8, 9, 12 months in a longer, lower, slower approach. So that's really all I have to say about this first cycle critique. I think it's absolutely preposterous. Conscientious ride 3193. I would reassess what you're doing and possibly find a coach who knows what he's doing as well. Thank you. I hope you have a great and amazing day. Deuces.